Dass mir eng Eier als Prime Minister den Xavier Bettel auch das Jahr können bei uns beim Konkurs an noch halb der Bühne zu begrüßen. Komm dir.
Dear guests, dear young scientists, dear parents, dear Carol, dear friends. I just heard from Mr. Hansen, and allow me to start with you to thank you, because if I'm right now, it's the 14th year in the introduction of your leadership also in the Young Scientists. And I have to say that all the time I meet you, I feel this passion that you have to push science and also young people to get closer to science. I also heard in the introduction that there are 44 different nationalities meeting here in Luxembourg. And so I prepared my speech in Luxembourgish, but I then realized that maybe just very few of you would understand my speech. So I decided to do it a paar wieder auf Lützeburgisch, manch da ganz zum Schluss. I will continue in English and maybe switch a bit to French, because I know that this is also a common language that you have. Yes, celebrating a birthday, because this year is in fact the 51 anniversary of the prize. And you have to know that Jonk Fuerscher 51st is something special, because I just celebrated my 49th, so I know how it feels. And you were lucky, because you were not able to celebrate the 50th. I wish that next year I would have the same, but not with COVID reasons, but just being able to say, wow, that age already. And so it's a pity that you were not able to celebrate. It's a joke not being able to celebrate the 50th anniversary, because I know how important it is to be able to celebrate with persons who, since the beginning, or at least since years, are also partners in this way. Alors la science, c'est quelque chose qui est très spécial pour les uns et une passion pour les autres. Est-ce que tout le monde... Est-ce qu'il y a des gens qui... Yes, but if I ask in French, the non-French speaking won't understand. Are some people not understanding French? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Versteht sich für ihn Luxembourgisch? Who speaks Luxembourgish? Who doesn't understand Luxembourgish? Okay, so I will continue in English. You see, that's the flexibility of Luxembourg, being able to grow up in 3 different languages and trying to improvise a speech, because it was all prepared in Luxembourgish, and trying to find then something to say which sounds at least interesting. Now, as I just said, science is something very special. I have to tell you very honestly, when I started with science, you know, as a young student, you started to understand how the battery is working. So you remember with your tongue, with the 2 sticks where you put together and you try to feel something. That was the first experience then, when in chemie you put things together. That was all science for me. Science could, and it doesn't have to be misunderstood, but for a lot of young people, when you start with science, something strange. It's a mix between magic, something you don't know, something where you cannot explain sometimes because it happens. And when you ask why, but does it so, huh? That's what we say in Luxembourg, because it's like that. But that you want to know more. And when you are a young scientist, it's because you have this passion, not only to rely on what you know, but to want to know more. In Luxembourg, we have a maxim called "Wir willen bleiben wat wir sind." That means we want to stay what we are. But your maxim is we don't want to stay where we are. You want to go a step further. And today, we are here together, some with masks, without masks. Why is this possible? Because of scientists who worldwide and we have to say in a record time, were able to find a vaccine. The mRNA was something when we started to get these words, these just few letters, we didn't know what it was. But because of that, we were able to have efficient vaccines, where we see that COVID is still not over. That's the reason why I have a mask, because I'm sitting in a row where there are more vulnerable persons. And for my Ministry of Environment, we had already a few cases of COVID in government, and we don't want that the whole government is going to be sick. So do not misunderstand when I speak about vulnerable persons, but if my whole government is sick, this wouldn't be good also for the Maybe some people would be happy, but I think to work, it would be important. But so because of scientists, we were able to have these vaccines. And there were people, and when I spoke before about these 44 nationalities, what is so important in science, and I know it's the principle of being proud of what you found, and for countries, I'm proud about what we are doing. Because a lot of people, you maybe just arrived in Luxembourg for a few days, but to know that in this country, research with the LNS, with the University of Luxembourg, and I really want to say thank you also to the leadership of this branch of research in Luxembourg, is something, and we have to admit, was not always the case. And when we see today, for example, in Parkinson, in Alzheimer, in all these different topics where we are really leaders even, and not only regional, not only European, but also internationally, it is because we had persons who had this passion at your age, and they wanted to continue in this. Not just to rely on what they have, but also to go further. And when I spoke before about these 44 citizenship, these nationalities, it's true multilateralism. It's true working together with partners. You didn't know yesterday, but you'll be a partner tomorrow, that you are able to do bigger things. So yes, the government decided to invest a lot in research because we believe in research. We believe that it is important, and if you compare this country, and if you were able to visit the university, where yesterday we had steel that we extracted from the ground. Today we extract brain, not physically, but we extract brain from students on the same ground. No danger for young students if you want to come back to Luxembourg. We do not experiences on people, but that's the fact that we were able, where yesterday, and this country, a lot of people think, yeah, Luxembourg is such a wealthy country. Luxembourg was not always a wealthy country. Luxembourg was a poor country. And when we speak today of refugees, we should know that all of us, in our history, we were refugees once, as a country. And we were looking for a better life. And Luxembourg have now more than 4,000 Ukrainians. And this is normal. We cannot accept to share, to give, and being able to try to give a better life to people who try to survive. And this is how this country 2 centuries ago was a poor country. And so a lot of Luxembourgers went, for example, to the States. And then we discovered steel, and we became rich with steel. And then we started to have also communications. For example, RTL, L is not for London, it's for Luxembourg. And RTL was, for example, for a lot of people during the Iron Curtain, the only voice of liberty. They were able to listen. And so now, SAS, one of the broadest satellite company in the world, is a Luxembourgish-based company. I have to admit, we occupy much more space upstairs than downstairs. In the space, we are a big leader. And we have the finance, we have the science today, we have the funds, and etc., and etc. So we were able, as I told you before, to be proud about what we are, but also be ready to take the next step. So for you today, I know I will afterwards having the privilege to give also prizes. If you don't win a prize, don't give up. Don't give up. For some of you, your parents are here. Believe me, they are proud of you. Sometimes maybe they are, like I told you before, not able to understand everything you're speaking with them. But believe me, they are proud, or they wouldn't be here. So if you win a prize, you will say that the jury is good. If you don't win a prize, the jury was still good, but it will be for another time. It's like polls for politicians, you understand what I mean? So the fact is, I want to congratulate all of you to have an idea, not just to watch, but to do. Not just to live, but to try to make a better life and try to change things. So to all of you, keep that passion, keep that energy, keep that envy too. And when I listen to our 2 presenters, they started and they continue, and then now at university I'm continuing also in research do it. And let me thank the young scientists, because sometimes you feel a bit alone. And through these organizations, you see that you are not alone and that you will have new friends. And believe me, teamwork is always more productive than a single work by an isolated person. So share, work together. I wish you a lot of success. And believe me, if you're looking for a place and you are very creative to be successful and to have a government supporting you with a good infrastructure and team believing in you, be welcome to Luxembourg. Thank you very much.